Hammer House, Jeff. What's it all about?
Be a victor on July 27th. This is footage of Maurice Smith, the former World Kickboxing Association heavyweight champion, a WKA Muay Thai champion, a man who's excelled on many different continents. And in the extreme fighting, he also was a champion. Over in Japan, he's somewhat of a legend because he's put guys down like that with thunder in his gloves. In Pancrase, another move that makes Maurice the great fighter he is. He's quick, he's got knees, he also can throw punches, and he can put fighters to sleep. In other reality competition, he earned the title, the Extreme Fighting Heavyweight Champion. And now, he's coming to the UFC. Wow. One punch, and good night. The event is July 27th. Mark Coleman against Maurice Smith. We've got goosebumps here octagon side watching it. Tickets on sale now in Birmingham. Undefeated Mark Coleman against highly respected Maurice Smith. And Maurice Smith joins us here at the facility in Augusta. Nice to have you with us.
How you doing, Bruce?
Welcome to the UFC.
All right, got to be here.
The date, July 27th. What's going to happen?
Well, it's going to be a fight between me and Mark Coleman, and I hopefully that Coleman will work on his stand-up in order to compete with me. Of course, all he's going to do is grab me and take me to the ground. But if he can't catch me, he can't grab me.
Well, it sounds as though you feel that you can dodge a good grappler. A lot of the people I saw you fighting there seem to be your own size, but Coleman definitely outweighs you.
Oh, without question, but that's a lot of weight to push as well. So as he is bigger, he has to push more weight. He's going to be a little slower. So I'm not going to sit and try to wrestle with Mark. That would be ridiculous. But if I go to the ground, no big deal. I've been there before, and I'll be there again.
Well, those are words of wisdom. Why fight his game when you want to go ahead and fight your own game? But as a striker, how can you explain grappling's success here in the octagon?
Well, because basically a lot of guys in the, quote, martial arts community don't really work on the ground game. I have worked on the ground game, and I understand it quite a bit, and I've had good training. Most of the guys just want to just rely on punching and kicking, but the wrestlers understand that in order for them to wrestle you, they have to touch you and grab you, and they go to the ground, and the guys don't know what to do. So I'm prepared for it. I mean, the only thing I have to worry about is his weight.
Do you feel as though he's not going to be able to get his hands on you to take you down?
Well, that's hard to say. You know, reality is he shouldn't, but the reality is he could. But if he go to the ground, no big deal. I'm not worried about it. I've been there before, and I'll be there again, and I'm ready to fight.
Well, Maurice, you know, I've seen you in so many bouts, in so many different styles of competition, and now you go to what is called the ultimate no-holds-barred tournament. How do you feel your style will translate there against a ferocious guy such as Mark Coleman?
Well, the thing is, Coleman's like any other guy, is a fighter, and he has one objective, is to grab me and wrestle me. That's it. Get me to the ground and punch me. I know that. I've learned his game. He has to learn my game to compete with me. He has to learn to move and how to cut the rope off, or the ring off, whatever, and he can't do that. He can't learn it in a month. So my game is to stay away, stick and move, and beat him. I'm not worried about going to the ground. Like I said, that seems to be the big wrestler's thing here, going to the ground. I'm not worried about the ground. He has to worry about me striking him, and he's going to worry big.
Well, one has to ask then, how well versed are you in the guard?
I won't be in the guard. I don't want to be in the guard. As you see when I fight the guys, the guard is not. It's not that big a deal. If you're doing like submission jiu-jitsu or whatever, yes, the guard is good. But for striking, the guard is, to me, it's worthless. It's a worthless position to be in. So I don't want to be there.
If he takes you down, though, how are you going to defend yourself?
I will. Well, if I tell you that, then you're going to tell him.
I'm not telling him. You're telling the world.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you that. That's not going to happen. I'm not going to tell you that.
You seem to think that I have a bias with grappling. It just happens to be my background, but I appreciate the kind of skills, particularly in what we saw in the footage of you, and the fights that you've had. That you've got tremendous foot speed. You'll even kick roundhouses to the head, as well as tremendous hand speed. So as a striker, you're very well balanced.
But like I said, I went into this business learning the ground game. I couldn't have done it. Like, I was asked to join this company a few years back, but I wasn't ready for it because I didn't know the groundwork. Now I've been trained well by the Shamrocks, and I'm ready for the ground game. Like I said, I'm not a wrestler, but I know how to defend the wrestling attack.
Well, you said you've been training with the Shamrocks. How long have you been doing that?
Off and on for like 2 years.
Well, certainly that must help you grappling skills. What have you picked up from them?
Well, in striking on the ground, the most important thing is position and how to get out of position. how to strike and not lose your shot, your position. That's important. And say submission, it's different. I'm not worried about submission, but groundwork, he needs all 4 tables to hurt me. So when he puts his hands up, he has 3 tables. So I got to counter that real quick.
Well, Maurice, we wish you the best of luck. July 27th is just around the corner. You've got a lot of work to do. I don't know if you can get that amazing kick in that you're talking about, but we wish you well, and we'll be there.
All right. I'll see you then.
All right.
Maurice,
Okay.
best of luck.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Maurice Smith, one of the finest fighters in the world, and he'll get a shot at Mark Coleman, the
And even Tank Abbott. Every time Tank Abbott picked his head up out of his arms trying to block his head, he was getting nailed.
We've got one fight left tonight in Birmingham, Alabama, the Magic City. We're at the Boutwell Municipal Auditorium, which opened in 1924, and it's Maurice Smith and Mark Coleman for the heavyweight championship belt that Mark Coleman currently owns. There is the challenger, Maurice Smith. He's never lost a championship fight. His discipline is kickboxing, also Muay Thai. He's going in there with a guy who has superior grappling skills. But Maurice has feet that are not only fast, but pack thunder in them. Maurice Smith getting set for tonight's battle with Coleman.
He doesn't know how to punch. He punches like a girl, okay? He may punch hard, but it's not like the solid punch. It's just more like scratch and hit me. It's not a punch for me. I mean, he'll see his interview, he'll get mad, but later on he'll know that I'm right, and he'll change his punching style because it's not gonna hurt me. It may bruise me, but it ain't gonna hurt me. Watch when I hit him. Watch the difference. You see a boxer's punch, you see a wrestler's punch. There's a big difference.
Wow, some strong words from Maurice.
Well, I'm not going to say Mark Coleman punches like a girl, but without a doubt, a wrestler does not throw a punch as well as a boxer. That's boxing's thing. Wrestling's thing is takedown. But I'll tell you what, once he gets you down, he doesn't have to have great technique with punching. All he's got to do is land them.
Maurice is a strategist. The question is, will that translate to a W in the octagon?
Great kickboxer, master striker, both hands and feet, and from the clips you've seen, he's tremendous with that right hand and also that right leg if he's able to get it up high and catch your head. He has some knowledge of the ground, but he is on the feet fighter. He wants to keep it standing.
Well, his opponent is poised with the belts and ready to make his move back to the octagon. Undefeated in the UFC, 6-0, with 2 championships and a heavyweight belt. The Hammer, Mark Coleman, the most ferocious competitor in the history of the UFC. 1988 NCAA champion, 2-time Pan Am Games gold medalist, World Cup silver medalist, 2-time World Team Trial champion. He was on the 92 Olympic team in Barcelona. Let's get some words from Mark Coleman as he defends his title in Birmingham.
He can only punch or kick a person that's standing still. I don't plan on standing still. I can shoot from a lot further out than he can kick or throw a punch. That's the key in this sport. It's a grappler's game because we can take a person down from a lot further out than they can stand there and punch us. So he has to learn how to wrestle, and I've learned how to take a boxer kicker down.
Coleman told us earlier today he took those comments by Maurice Smith personally, and tonight it's personal.
Well, he comes from a strong wrestling background. He's one of the elite wrestlers in the United States, 92 Olympian, excellent at takedowns. He'll trade a small punch to get in on your legs. Once he gets you down, he'll rain big punches. They might be hitting like a girl, but for some reason they take people out.
So it's the best mixed martial artist on the planet against perhaps the finest heavyweight kickboxer in the world. Here's the tale of the tape. Maurice Smith is older, but he's in marvelous condition. Coleman, 25 pounds heavier. Seattle, Washington, the home of Maurice Smith, and Mark Coleman hailing from Columbus, Ohio. Bruce Buffer with the introduction of our big bout of the night.
Ladies and gentlemen, This is the main event of the evening. This is the showdown for the UFC Heavyweight Championship of the world. Standing to my left, from Seattle, Washington, the 1996 ISKA Kickboxing Champion of the world, the former WKA Kickboxing and Muay Thai Heavyweight Champion of the world, and the final Extreme Fighting Heavyweight Champion of the world, standing 6 feet 2 inches tall and weighing 220 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Maurice Smith. And his opponent, a member of the 1992 Olympic wrestling team, a 2-time Pan Am Games gold medalist, a World Cup silver medalist, a 2-time freestyle champion, fighting out of Columbus, Ohio, standing 6'1" and weighing 245 pounds. He is the reigning UFC Heavyweight Champion of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Mark the Hammer Coleman.
Showman in a showdown. Let the battle commence.
Look up there, this is what you came for. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's get it on!
There's been some mind game going on here. Coleman taking a lap right in front of Maurice Smith, eyeing him down, moving forward, staring contest, but now it comes down to skill.
And this is where Smith can be dangerous with his kicks.
Coleman said he was going to come straight across the ring. He's now standing off, measuring distance. This favors the striker here.
There goes Coleman, double leg. Headbutts. Right hands by Coleman. Big right hands by Coleman. Can Smith use his quickness?
Smith is in a world of hurt here. He's trying to get his legs up so he can try to push and get distance from Coleman. Coleman keeping him tight. He had a bunch of punches come down there. I'm not sure any of them were super solid, but they all seem to be landing. But now he's slowing it down. He'll start to measure the Maurice Smith now and try to gauge distance or clear an arm so he can get a strike in.
And this is where Coleman was essentially born on the mat. He's in his comfort zone here. Smith would have hoped to have gotten off a big kick or a big punch in that early exchange. Coleman just missing with the right hand. And here's where Coleman can use his weight advantage.
Without a doubt. Right now, Smith is not carrying his weight. Now he is. When Coleman comes up on his toes and gets high, like Joe Moreira did, where his belly is literally up by Smith's nose, as opposed to down by his midsection, that's when you're in the full mount. Right now, Coleman is in the guard.
What should Maurice Smith be looking to do from here?
Right now, he's playing the patient game, just what you should in the guard. Wait till you have a position where you can use your feet to push Coleman away or elevate him like that. But when you do that, you allow the wrestler an opportunity to perhaps pass the guard, but Smith able to get his leg back out there. Coleman still finds himself trapped in the guard.
Couple of right hands landed by Smith to the back of Coleman's head. Not much on it from that position, though.
And a lot of composure by Maurice Smith on his back. Striker on his back, not panicking, not getting frustrated, staying cool, calm, and collected, waiting for his opportunity. That's exactly what you need to do in the guard.
Coleman continuing to work. He's only been in 2 battles that went over 5 minutes. One against Gary Goodrich, 7 minutes. One against Don Fry, 11:36. Everything else was fairly quick. Severn under 3 minutes. Horenstein under 3. Brian Johnston, Julian Sanchez under 3.
A reverse choke. That was interesting. Coleman tried to pull Smith's chin into Smith's chest, literally compressing the neck forward. The exact opposite. You'd think you'd see a choke, and Smith really worked hard to get out of it.
3 minutes in, and it's still Mark Coleman on top of Maurice Smith.
Well, Coleman's got one leg out of the guard. Smith now working hard to try to get it back in there, and he succeeds. You wonder if that big burst in the beginning by Coleman sort of drained him a little bit, sort of punched himself out, and right now he's just trying to collect himself, feel good, get control of his body, and then we'll see the assault again.
I think that the early storm was weathered by Maurice Smith.
Oh, without a doubt. Smith is still in this fight. Coleman is where he wants to be, but he's not been able to pass the guard. He hasn't gotten out to the side, cleared it, and gotten to the mount yet. He's more interested in punching Maurice Smith's head. Here he is. He's got one leg out again.
4 minutes in. Coleman working on that left wrist, then giving it up. Possible headbutt here. He's in position for a headbutt, but Smith using that left hand to ward him off a bit.
Well, ground and pound isn't coming true right now. It's ground and doing a lot of thinking, a lot of tactic here. Some nice elbows by Maurice Smith.
Some big right elbows by Maurice. And look at Maurice squirm, look for openings, and he lands an elbow.
That's what you need to be in the guard. A lot of people think it's laying there hanging tight, but the guard can be an active position where you move around, forcing the top man to follow, and that becomes predictable. Does Maurice Smith
a side mount move?
Have a bag of tricks waiting for Coleman here with some submissions, but he turned his back on Coleman.
And
he's going to get choked.
He's going for the choke. He's sinking it in there.
Nothing yet.
Smith, look at him. He's showing great patience. That's what you got to do.
The forearm's not in. He stayed enough on his back that the forearm couldn't sink, but he's in the mount now, and Coleman's going to throw punches. Coleman is going to be tough to get out of this position. He's got the legs sunk in. All he'll do is flatten out, wait out the storm, and then remount and re-punch.
1, 2, 3, break.
Well, you saw Maurice Smith not panic. We saw that from Hoist Gracie in the early UFCs. When you're in a position where you're kind of being choked, you just breathe deeply and you don't panic. It's hard to do, but you got to do it.
Well, the big thing is just don't panic. If you make it a frustrating situation in your mind, your body reacts accordingly. Smith, I am going to give credit to. He brought a lot more into this fight than he let on. He is well versed in the guard. Even when he's in the mounted position, he is tough to hit.
He has worked with the Shamrocks at the Lion's Den, but right now he's got to handle some big punches from Mark Coleman. There are a lot of right hands, a plethora of rights.
And you can see what Maurice Smith is doing. He's bucking his hips up, forcing Coleman forward onto his hands. And when your hands are down, you can't punch. Once again, he tries to turn, but he's going to present his back to Coleman. He's not going to shake Coleman here. A wrestler won't get beat in a wrestler's game.
Work it out.
Particularly this guy.
And you can't make up for it in a short time.
Well, Smith is comfortable here on his base. Coleman's leg is in. If that leg was out, he'd be going for the choke.
Work it out.
Right now, he doesn't want to lean over the top. It's what we call getting high in the sport.
There's Smith trying to reverse. Ends up on his back.
Well, he knew better. He had to go to his back, otherwise he'd give Coleman a good shot at moving up on the head and striking it or going for the choke again.
Coleman back in the side mount. And he's really having to work here, over 7 minutes in.
We're not even to the halfway point yet.
That's right, this about 15 minutes with 2 3-minute overtimes if needed.
Keep it working.
And Smith doing a marvelous job with that left hand, warding off potential bombs from Coleman.
And the crowd getting behind Smith right now.
And they're chanting Maurice. Coleman still working on top of Maurice Smith. This is for the UFC Heavyweight Championship.
Doing a great job. He's got his legs crisscrossed and hooked, keeping Coleman's one leg in the guard, which prevents Coleman from getting to the mount and being able to create some space and throw punches. Smith is well versed in the guard. I am truly amazed. This athlete knows some good jiu-jitsu here.
Over 8 minutes in. It's been the same story with Coleman on top, trying to get to the full mount position, hasn't been able to. Smith still hooking that one right leg of Coleman's. And he's strong. Those legs, they've been through some wars. He's one of the best kickers in the world.
Coleman now looking to get his leg out. He freed it up, but he wasn't able to pass the guard yet.
How much energy is it taking out of Smith to use this defensive posture?
I think it's taking a lot of energy out of Coleman, too. He's constantly using his arms to push and his toes to drive. And he's not really getting compensated by any kind of success, except when he got to that mounted position, was able to throw punches straight down. Smith, to his credit, doing a pretty good job. Now Coleman's looking for that headlock, same one he caught Severn with. He'll try to get his left leg out, sit to the side.
Smith gets behind him and gets up. And Smith is back on his feet where he wants to be.
And Coleman is tired. He's now a target.
Smith can punch or kick here. He's got to try to capitalize on his feet. Oh, he just missed.
It's a foul. Hands down on the ground. It's a foul.
Because Coleman was on the ground. If you're in anywhere near all fours, that's 1 warning, 3 warnings. It's a disqualification, but it was close.
It was.
It wasn't intentional, I don't believe.
Coleman was trying to get up. It wasn't as though he was stuck on the ground.
Coleman is okay.
You ready?
He did catch one, but Coleman is tired. Hands on the knees, breathing hard. He's going to have to call on all of that will.
Smith exudes confidence right now. This is his game with the kicking. And Coleman's tired.
He wants to bend over some more. Coleman really wants to bend over some more. I can't believe he's this tired. Those kicks will take their toll.
I don't know if Coleman's got the energy right now to go and shoot again for a single or double leg.
It certainly looks as though he's winded, whether he was punched out or...
Got one back. Played possum a little bit.
I don't think that's possum. He really did reach for his knees. Smith doing a wonderful job of defense. Coleman being very aggressive, constantly chasing him. Wasted some energy without any real beneficial return.
Elbows by Smith.
I have to say right now, Smith is closing the gap. He is striking well.
Elbow again by Maurice Smith.
It's really the lack of activity by Coleman right now that's costing him.
Back in the side position, the side mount. Tell you, Coleman had to reach deep down to make that last move, didn't he?
He certainly did, but it was aided by the fact Smith threw a kick above the waist, and as we have said over and over again, that has not been an effective tactic, even with being a great kickboxer in the octagon. Against the grappler, they'll seize that leg and take you right down, and that's what Coleman did despite the fatigue. 11 minutes, 15 seconds gone.
To the stomach goes Maurice Smith. 15-minute time limit, 2 3-minute overtimes in this UFC heavyweight title bout.
Keep working, gentlemen.
And Maurice Smith, I think, Jeff, just missed by inches a huge kick, which had possible knockout written on it.
Oh, I'm sure he was looking. He might have wanted to soften Coleman up some more, use those jabs, maybe a right hand, and hit him, and then come in with the kick when Coleman's worried about the hands. But Coleman was able to take Smith down again, but he hasn't done anything since they've landed on the ground here. He's trying to survive. He's trying to weather fatigue. If he's not careful, McCarthy can move this back to the feet unless Coleman shows he's moving up and staying active.
This one a war of attrition.
This is a championship fight. The clash of styles is proving to be really an even affair now. Smith, despite being on his back, is able to defend himself well. Coleman unable to get any big power punches in. And at the same time, after that Smith escaped, nearly tried to get it there again. It has really been Smith since then, whether striking on the ground or on the feet with kicks and punches.
Coleman almost got too high there. Possible reversal for Maurice Smith.
He's looking to choke again there. Again, tucking Smith's chin to his chest.
He didn't miss by much.
You can see Smith start to throw multiple knees to the back, anything to try to knock him out of that hold. So it was effective, but all those big squeezing bursts that Coleman's using is draining him of his energy.
These guys have such wills to win. You can see it in both the offensive and defensive posture.
From a strategy point of view, Smith only has to hold tight and weather out another minute, 40, and then he gets another crack on his feet.
Right.
That one for 3 minutes, and he gets another crack on his feet. So he doesn't need to panic. Coleman should try to get some attrition in here, because he is going to wind up on his feet in about a minute 30 seconds unless he can end it.
Like UFC 7 at Buffalo between Huas and Varland, which went 13-17, and UFC 6 in Casper, Tektara beating Abbott in 17-47. This championship bout is going for some time.
Maurice.
Coleman has never lost in the octagon. Maurice Smith has never lost a championship bout.
Keep it up. You got 1 minute. Let's go.
And neither guy showing any signs of surrender right now. Coming up on a minute to go in regulation.
An interesting ploy. He's actually trying to choke Mark Coleman by covering his mouth and not letting him breathe. And it's an effective tactic. It's an effective tactic.
There's the reversal by Maurice Smith.
Watch for big punches. Watch for big punches.
And back to the feet they go. That's where Maurice wants to be with 35 seconds left in regulation. Coleman looks a little tired again.
Oh, wow, he's willing to turn his back.
A kick by Smith. Coleman defended it fairly well.
Two tired champions here. A great fight. The grappler unable to take out the striker on the ground, and they're now back on the feet. Can Coleman weather being on the feet against a master striker? That's the big question.
Left hand by Maurice Smith.
Nice jab. Good jab. He should do more of that. Force Coleman into committing.
He's got to throw punches here. There's the horn ending regulation. And it looks like Coleman that is more the guy who's fatigued. Now we know about Maurice Smith's conditioning. He's talked about it at least. At 35, he's a marvelously conditioned athlete.
6 more minutes.
That's a long time.
6 minutes is an eternity when you're exhausted.
Lower your levels, lower your levels, straight
And Maurice Smith looks stretched comparatively.
Well, Maurice Smith's game plan is holding intact. The longer conditioning plays a factor. It is now working for Maurice Smith. And with the 2 starts coming at the start of both overtimes, he's going to get the opportunity to punch and kick from his feet.
There's Jackson in Coleman's corner. In the other corner with Maurice Smith was Frank Shamrock, who was practically on top of the octagon fence, imploring his fighter to go on and go do it. Big mouse under Coleman's left eye as we begin our first of 2 overtimes.
Striking on the feet goes to Maurice Smith. Striking on the ground still to Mark Coleman. Aggressiveness, Coleman early, but it's now Maurice Smith. This is going to be a tough fight for the judges. Plenty of time, though, to end this. Can Smith get that big blow in? He's doing a good job of kicking.
Can he land that big axe kick or go upstairs and nail Coleman?
Coleman's looking at the clock. That's not a good sign.
Coleman wanted to shoot, didn't have the energy. Smith was quick. Again, Maurice is so quick now with his legs. He's backing up after missing. He wants him.
And it's working for Maurice Smith now.
And now he can try to chop him down the way Huas did to Varland if he connects with enough blows to Coleman's legs.
Each punch he's landing now is winning him points on the feet striking and also with aggression. He could turn this around and take it away from Coleman. It's that close.
Can Coleman shoot again? Is he waiting for his spot for an explosion? Smith again, a kick down low. That'll swell up the legs pretty good.
I'm worried that he could have hit Coleman's knee there. Coleman's legs are planted. He could hit that joint while there's weight on it.
Another jab by Maurice, not much doing. Minute 25 into this first 3-minute overtime.
And Mark Coleman has to put his hands on his knee.
Combination.
He's that tired. He is that tired.
He looked up at the clock again. That's like tugging on your shorts in basketball. Again, a kick by Maurice Smith.
There's nothing welting up. There is one bruise on the back of Coleman's right leg, right hamstring.
Maurice needs to go up a little higher with those kicks. Maurice Smith taunting Coleman a bit. Coleman wants no part right now. He shoots and misses, and Maurice cannot kick him when he's down, and he backed off that time.
Smith unable to throw punches of his own. He's got to be feeling some fatigue, too. He hasn't put together any combinations yet.
A right hand by Maurice Smith and a combination. There's the kick to the head.
And he is now ahead. He is probably going to be ahead on the judge's card. He's taking it to Coleman, and Coleman's too tired to answer.
Coleman looking at the clock. 35 seconds left in our first OT.
And Smith is looking him right in the eye. He's crouching down to look Coleman in the eye. This has grown to a battle of wills now.
That one almost chopped him.
And it seems as though Smith's will is dominating.
And his endurance is spectacular. And he's mixing it up between punches and kicks.
Coleman's going to have another 3 minutes of this. He's got to come out and establish a takedown. Get Smith down. I don't know why Smith's backing out. I don't know why Smith doesn't want to get close enough for Coleman to grab him. With the fence there, Coleman can push off.
First overtime is over. We've got another 3-minute overtime. Frank Shamrock hanging over the top of the octagon. He's got a fresh Maurice Smith. Mark Coleman quietly goes back to his side. And this crowd is riveting with this action.
This has been one of the best fights ever. A striker is holding his own. He has learned enough of the guard to hold up an inexperienced and only a wrestling discipline-minded athlete. He could cover up, avoided all those big punches early, and it appears that Coleman has punched himself out. He seems exhausted.
It's all
absolutely exhausted.
It's all about heart now. 3 minutes, 2 champions, 1 showdown. The UFC Heavyweight Championship on the line.
Can Coleman find the energy? Or will Maurice Smith pull one of the biggest upsets in UFC history?
Another kick by Maurice.
And his confidence is growing.
Oh, he's been very confident since late in the regulation.
Coleman has basically been backing up here.
Oh, another kick by Smith.
And those now are leaving marks all over Coleman's legs. Oh!
Smith just missed, and Coleman unable to capitalize.
Coleman cannot even move forward. He has to bend over yet again.
It's all endurance now, and Maurice Smith has it. 2:30 left.
It's also about skill, and Maurice Smith is still able to execute properly. Even when he misses, he's got the quickness and the conditioning to get up before Coleman reacts.
A kick, Coleman now welting up underneath the left eye.
That's probably from that jab, which Smith really isn't using anymore. That's an effective punch. Get Coleman thinking upstairs, use your legs then afterwards.
There he is. He comes in and uses that kick like a jab in boxing.
It's a wonderful weapon, and these legs are already drained of energy. Taking that kind of punishment is going to limit their range even more.
Coleman's legs are red. They are welting up pretty good.
And Smith's glove has come undone. He's going to need tabs to get that taped up. We're going to see Leon Tabs to the ring here momentarily. No, good enough.
Get rid of that wet tape.
That's a break for Coleman. That's a huge break for Coleman.
Can Coleman reach down deep here? Can he?
He just hasn't been able to put anything together here in the last 5 minutes. It has been all Maurice Smith.
Maurice Smith looking for a monumental upset. We've lost some lights overhead. McCarthy says, let's fight on. Heck with the dark. This is about for a title.
You want out?
Coleman actually didn't want to fight.
Smith with another kick. A little over 1:15 to go. It's been all Maurice Smith since late in the regulation. And there's a jab followed by a low right kick.
That's what he's got to put together. Those kinds of combinations Mark Coleman has never seen. He has had no one come after him in this way ever in his training.
Inside a minute to go in the UFC heavyweight title bout. Maurice Smith looking for a huge upset. 3 judges will score it.
We're down to 45 seconds.
There will not be a draw. Coleman got nailed.
I think unless Coleman's able to do something drastic here, this decision may go to Smith.
I think he's had the aggressiveness in the last 8 minutes.
He's controlled the second half of the fight in terms of aggressiveness, and his punching skill on his feet has been more dominant than Coleman in the guard.
20 seconds to go in our second overtime. Coleman reaching down. We've lost some more lights, but it doesn't matter to Smith. He'll fight in the dark. He'll fight in an alley. Another kick scored by Maurice Smith.
And Smith now really measuring Coleman. He hasn't been able to throw the big bomb.
And there's the horn ending this heavyweight title bout. Wow. It goes to the 3 judges. They must vote one way or another, no draws.
And this lived up to its billing. Champion striker against champion grappler, and it is so close. The grappler dominating early with a takedown and a mounted position. The striker coming back, showing great heart, great conditioning, and great punching and kicking skill from the feet.
It's almost something out of a movie with the lights
most incredible
almost
fight.
all out in the arena. And great guts shown by both competitors in what was truly a war.
And this because Coleman was totally inactive that last 6, 7, 8 minutes.
Maurice Smith thinks he's got the win.
And this could cost Coleman. Smith definitely being the aggressor at the end. I think it's going to influence the judges with aggression. Maurice Smith, a phenomenal performance in the octagon.
On a night where 2 wrestlers captured the 2 tournaments, is it a striker that wins the big one? We're waiting for Bruce Buffer and the announcement of the winner. Let's go up to the octagon.
Ladies and gentlemen, we go to the judges' scorecards for a decision. We have a unanimous decision with the winner and new UFC heavyweight champion of the world, Maurice Smith.
17 years in fight competition, and Maurice is the champion. He's never lost a championship bout. Joe Rogan standing by with Maurice Smith.
Maurice, hold up, right here.
Go, Joe. All right,
Maurice, congratulations on an unbelievable upset, perhaps the greatest upset in UFC history. You came into this fight, you told everybody how it was going to be, you said you were going to take your time, you were going to wait it out. In the end, you'd be on your feet and he would be running away from you, and you pulled it off. Unbelievable. How you feeling now?
I feel good. Like I said, hold on. Like I said, he has to adjust to my game as far as stand-up. I had to learn his game. And like he actually said earlier, after learning wrestling, I learned some wrestling. I want to say thank you, everybody, to my best friend here, Frank Shamrock, Pete, Vernon, Jerry, Bob, Robert, Mike, Lonnie, Roman, all the guys back at home. Thanks a lot.
Tell us your opinion of the kick. When you landed the kick to Mark's head and the referee came in and stepped in, was he down or was he up?
I couldn't tell. Maybe it was down, so they gave me the penalty, so c'est la vie. That's the way it goes. I thought it was up, but I couldn't see if his knees were down. But he fought a hell of a fight, and we'll do it again. I'm sure we'll fight again, and next time he'll be better on his feet, I'm sure.
Unbelievable, incredible victory, and Art Davies here to present you with your new belt.
Okay.
Maurice, you and I have been trying to get it together since UFC 6. I can only say it is a real privilege and a pleasure to have you as the new champion. Congratulations, Maurice. May you have a long reign.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Keo, all the students back home, we're bringing it home. You guys get in class Monday, though. I'll be in late. You better be in class.
Maurice,
congratulations.
And I want to personally thank Lions Den. Where's Frank at? My trainer. You did a good job, Frank.
Back to Bruce. Congratulations.
Maurice Smith is the new Ultimate Fighting Championship, Heavyweight Championship. The heavyweight champion in a monumental upset. Jeff Latnick, what a night. We've enjoyed it.
No doubt about it. The striker beats the grappler. It's the the first time at the UFC that has really happened. Elite against elite. Grappler's going to have to regroup and come back, but Maurice Smith, the new champion.
So for Jeff Latnigan, Joe Rogan, I'm Bruce Beck saying goodnight from Birmingham, Alabama, where Maurice Smith has taken the title from Mark Coleman. The striker beats the grappler in the UFC's version of Showdown. Good night, everybody.